Ah. Sure. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see, anybody chiming in? Anybody in so far? All right, we're just waiting for some people to get in. Waiting for some people to get in so we can go live. All right. Welcome, welcome. We're just waiting on some people to tune in. I know the Lakers are playing, so it may take a minute. All right, all right. Let's see. Let's see if we can get that. If you're here, say hi. And let's talk about some stuff on this Sunday. Let me know how it looks out there. We're going to talk about how to start contracting business. We've already been talking about that on some recent lives. So just let me know how it looks, how it sounds. And once we get a few people on here, we'll get it going Sunday. So there we go. All right, all right. How to start a contracting business. It looks like we've got some audience members. If the audio sounds good, if the setup is good, please let me know. We're going to jump in here in a minute and talk about how to start your contracting business. This is a topic we've been going over for the past couple of weeks. I've got my board back here. Let's make sure you can see that. Let's back it up a little bit so we can get a little bit better, get a better view. But if the audio sounds good, let me know and let's jump on it. Hey, would you read my name? Is it Mommy or Mammy? How do you say that? Mommy? All right, all right. So we're talking about starting a contracting business. So how many of you out there are currently contractors or are interested in getting into contracting? Once we get some more people in the room, we'll start talking about how to start your business and what that looks like. Some people get very scared of talking about their business and telling a friend. So, one of the first things we have up here is to tell your friends and family. So those of you who don't know me, we're trying to get our YouTube following a little bit better, but on the other socials, we've got about 250,000 followers, and we do a lot of how-to and talking head videos, but our primary format is the podcast. So you've subscribed. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What kind of questions do you all have about how to start a contracting business? And when I say contracting, you can call it whatever you want. Painting, flooring, whatever type of business that you're in. Remodeling in general contracting, home building. That's what we do. We do home building and we do remodeling. I own four companies: interior design, one is painting, one is remodeling, where we focus on kitchen and bath and home additions, and then we've got the home building side. So, all right. So, what we're talking about is telling your friends and family. So, one of the biggest risks I think that you could take is putting yourself out there and letting people know that you're going into business. And some people get scared of, well, I wouldn't say scared, nervous, embarrassed. I don't know what it is, but people tend to forget the biggest step is letting your friends and families know that you're starting a business, because a lot of times you're starting that business because A, you have a passion for it, but B, you may be in an environment where you're unhappy. You may be working for another contractor. And so if you work for another contractor right now, or you're working for someone and you're unhappy, you may be thinking about starting your own business. And I want to make sure that, just from my experience and the things that I've seen in the decade we've been doing it, and there's going to be people watching this who've got a lot more experience, but my background is my dad has been a contractor my whole life. I actually did 20 years in the Navy and retired. But we started flipping houses back in 2013 is when we did our first one. We've done quite a few of those over the years, but our main business now, I'm a licensed home builder in the state of Alabama. Now, what does that mean to you when you hear the word licensed? Well, there's licensed contractors, which is like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and different trades that have to have a state required license. That means that they have done a certain amount of hours as an apprentice under a master plumber, master electrician, and now they went and took a test. After they got their hours, they tested, they passed the test, and they are licensed. Licensed and insured, you're going to hear that a lot in our industry. But so what I was saying is, you need to make sure that you tell your friends and family, and then you need to know the rules and requirements. What do I mean by rules and requirements of being a contractor? Well, there's regulations, there's licensing, there's knowing, basics, like knowing what you're doing as a contractor is huge. So after you've told your friends and family, so they can help you spread the word that you're going out on your own as a contractor or a modeler, painter, flooring installer, electrician, plumber, whatever it is that you're going on your own and doing as a contractor. That still doesn't put you in business. Knowing the rules and regulations. Are you licensed? Get some insurance, and make sure that you're covering your basis. And then you go to your community development center, is what we call it here. Your municipality. It could be the Department of Revenue, and make sure that you get an actual business license so you can do business in whatever city or town that you're in. So those are the first two, right? Tell your friends and family. I can't emphasize that enough, how important it is to let them know so they can support you. And then making sure you know the rules and regulations. And then number three is knowing how to generate leads. This is the majority of the battle for contractors. And if you're a contractor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Making sure you have steady work, right? And then trying to balance it all. One of the things that that can make you fail quick is not being able to balance it all, because it sounds like a good idea. You're in an unhappy environment, and due to whatever that is, right? You're just unhappy where you work. You want to go out on your own and become a contractor. You've learned enough, you know enough. You're going to start your own business. Well, here's the deal. You've got to have work to do that, right? And if you've been working for somebody and you've made your own relationships with clients and customers, first you want to be careful. You got to tread lightly, because it's very sensitive to other contractors. they're going to feel like you're stealing clients if they start calling you and they were clients of your boss before. So that's really, you really want to steer away from that as a brand new contractor. You want to find your own clientele. Not that it's a bad thing that people want to call you. You probably were doing the work, and they probably know you because you were on site. But you've got to make sure that you know you've you've got to make sure that you know what you're doing, and you want to get out there on your own. And so do it the right way. Don't do it the wrong way. And when I say doing it the wrong way, don't worry about their clients. Worry about building your own. Now, how do you do that? The hardest part of being a contractor is, and especially after you've learned what you need to know to do the work, is the business side, right? So a lot of contractors fail in business. And why do they fail in business? Because it's not because they haven't been formally trained, but they haven't spent time, right, knowing what it takes to run a business. They know the skill, they know how to do their work, but if you are an individual, it may not matter, right? You're just worried about doing that trade, you're worried about doing that individual job and getting paid. But you still have lead generation as a big part of the game plan, because you can be an individual contractor and take cash for payment and those types of things, but you got to have work. And if you want work, you've got to be out there. So big part of it is making sure that you're out there and making sure that you are generating leads. Well, how do I do that, Chris? That's, one of the things that I'm doing these videos for, is to help you understand and know how to not just start your business, not just make sure that you're doing it the right way, and be prepared for it, but to make sure you can line up work, right? Who's going to feed you? Who's going to pay them bills? You got to have clients and customers. So let's talk about how to get clients and customers, okay? First, you've got to, the first thing, and this is where you're not going to have a lot of money at first to start just advertising, and you're going to get advice from people and they're going to tell you 100 different ways. The very first thing I would do, and it worked for me and it still continues to work, is social media. Get your Facebook page going. If like me, my name's Chris Kirby, and I've got my own personal page. However, I have business pages for all of my businesses. So Kirby Custom Renovations, Kirby Homes, Kirby Painting, Kirby Interior Design. What you're watching now, the Home Building and Remodeling Show, they have their own pages, and that's a huge thing. Social media is one of those immediate things. You've already told your friends and family. Now let's jump on social media and start a basic page. Dan's Plumbing, whatever you want to call it, right? And you don't have to worry about, you could change the name later, right? So just call it whatever you want, but get that social media going. Get that Facebook page going. And the reason I say Facebook is Instagram and TikTok is fun, Instagram's more visual, but when it comes to business, Facebook is where it's at, okay? That's where you're going to, that's an older audience, that's an audience that's not looking for the Instagram type stuff, they're not looking for the TikTok type stuff, and you're gonna find a lot of other small business owners on there. So Facebook is probably the number one thing that you could do to start your social media presence. And then, for us here locally, I'm on the Gulf Coast in Alabama. There's a lot of towns and cities that have these pages that's, what's happening in wherever you're from. So what's happening in Gulf Shores, what's happening in Foley, Alabama, what's happening in Baldwin County, even the county. So there's a lot of those pages, and there's always people on those pages looking for contractors. There's always, and I mean, that's not just contractors. This applies to all business. I'd recommend the same thing to all businesses. But let's just say you're a painter and somebody needs their house painted. Well, they may recommend you by name, but if they can't @ you, or if they can't tag your business page, you may be missing out compared to the other painters who do have social media and do have a page, and they can tag them so they can see, hey, so-and-so, my friend Joey was looking to get his house painted, and he was on social media, and he posted in a group that he needed his house painted, and voila, your name is now tagged, because guess what? That's visibility right there. And so again, it goes back to lead generation and how are you going to get work right away as a contractor. And I see people struggle with it all the time. They're scared, or not scared, but they don't want to go on social media. They don't do social media. But for business, it is a necessity these days. And we have, like I said, business pages for all my businesses, all my contracting businesses. So people can tag us and call us out in these groups when they need painting, remodeling, kitchens, baths, whatever it is, custom homes. So let's talk about what recap for the couple of people who've joined us real quick. How to start a contracting business or business in general. Tell your friends and family. Don't miss the most important people in your life. Let them ask questions and beat you up and say, did you think of this? Number two, know the rules and requirements. As a contractor, you got to have certain licenses to do certain work, but you don't have to have licenses for flooring, painting, at least in my area. And what I mean by license, I mean you didn't take a test or you're not state certified. However, you do still have to have a business license issued by the city or town that you're in to do work in that city or town. So knowing the rules and regulations, knowing what you can and can't do as a contractor when you first start out, and then know how to generate leads. So that's where we are. We're on number 3. We're talking about generating leads. And I want to make sure that you understand how important this is, because when you go on your own, you've got to figure out how you're going to get your next job. How are you going to get your next paycheck? Okay. Please, if you're watching this, share, like, comment. I know there's at least 1 or 2 of you watching. Put your name. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Chris Kirby. I'm the owner of host and owner of the Home Building and Remodeling Show. We're a podcast, and we release weekly, and it is called the Home Building and Remodeling Show. We're trying to grow our presence here on YouTube. But anyway, I want to make sure that you all understand that marketing is super important, and the necessity of social media is hugely important. And especially when you're a new business, trying to get your name out there as a new contractor versus a lot of the experienced contractors that have been around for a while. How are you going to compete with them? How are you going to line up that steady work? Social media is a huge part of that. Okay, so generating leads, this is one step in a big wheel we're going to talk about on generating leads as a contractor. So start that social media page, right? The next thing you need to do is get you a t-shirt made for your company. Or if you don't have a company and it's, like for me, my name's Chris Kirby. Hey, Kirby Contracting, whatever you want to call it, but make it simple. Put it on a t-shirt, put a phone number on the back. And that way, no matter what, when you're out and about, these people are seeing your name and your number, and they can call you. All right, that's 2 simple things that you can do that's going to cost little to no money. And that's starting your social media page, getting a t-shirt, wearing it around, a polo with your name, your company info. That way, when you're at the grocery store or you're in Target or Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, anything like that, go ahead and have that t-shirt on. Get you a hat made. Those are some of the small, more inexpensive things you can do. And then from there, so let's recap one more time. Social media, right? You've already told your friends and them. You know the rules. Now we're talking about how to generate leads. Social media is big. Get that Facebook page going. And I say do Facebook before you do any of the other ones, because if you're a contractor, especially in our world, it's very visual, right? So Instagram, before and after photos, that's great. But Facebook is where the business stuff happens. This is where people are looking for, around the city, around the town, they're looking for contractors and they want recommendations. They're going on Facebook for that. I mean, it is what it is. You've got to get that social media page going. And then we talked about getting you a t-shirt made, getting you a hat made, so you're always wearing, you're advertising yourself constantly. And then from there, it's making sure you've got the business cards. Okay, spend, I don't know, go on Vistaprint, spend $9.99 and get you 50 business cards and keep them in your pocket. Okay, just be on the ready. Name and number. Right? You're like, well, Chris, I don't have a logo yet. That's okay. Put your dang name and number on there. Find something to put on those business cards, but at least let them have name, number, and email, right? Because they're going to want to email you stuff and you're going to want to email them stuff. Name, number, and email, okay? And then once you're done with that, you've got your business cards, you got your shirt made, you got your hat made, you got a vehicle decal. That's what you need to get next. Whether it's one of the stick-on decals, a magnet, whatever it is, get that magnet made, and that way any parking lot that you're in, all right, that thing is advertising for you. Okay, yeah, you're going to pay to get a magnet for your vehicle. You're going to pay to get vinyl stickers, whatever it is you put on your vehicle. But any parking lot that you're sitting at, anytime you're at a red light, anytime that you're driving up and down the highway, they're seeing your business. That thing is self-advertising. No matter if you're working in a client's house in a subdivision and you're parked outside of their house, right? Make sure that you've got one on both sides and the back. Okay, so people can see that business name while you're in there doing that work. That's what really matters. Okay. If you're here watching, let me know why you're watching. Let me know if you're thinking about going into business, contracting business, what type of business. Please like and subscribe to our page. Comment if you can hear me. Let me know what's going on with you out there, and let me know how I can help you. That's what I'm here to do, is make sure that I can help you. Please listen to our podcast, the Home Building and Remodeling Show. It's available on all platforms. And our mission is to we're trying to change the narrative on construction. We want to make it your first choice for work. And so I'm helping anybody that I can just share the message of how to start a contracting business or a business in general. And so I want to answer any questions that you may have on how to do that. I'm going to outline the steps. And we do have we've got a great following. We've got about 250,000 followers on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our podcast is our platform. We do shows every Tuesday. We release new episodes of the podcast. So the Home Building and Remodeling Show. But I wanted you all to have a direct line to me, and be able to ask me questions and give me content and good feedback for the show. So I'm going to be doing this every Sunday. And so we're going to dive right back in. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about generating leads on number 3 on our checklist of how to start your contracting business. We've talked about very first thing I told everybody I would do, social media, Facebook page. And I called out Facebook specifically because that's where business happens. And the younger generation says Facebook's for older people, and the older generation doesn't use the other platforms. But I'm telling you, that's where the business is done. People are in these groups. They're looking for business referrals. They're out, your friends and family are out looking for flooring installers, painters, bathroom remodelers, home builders, whatever it is that they need done, and that's where you're gonna find it, is on Facebook. So start your Facebook page, buy a t-shirt with your name and number on it, buy a hat with your name and number on it, get vehicle decals, name and number on it, and that vehicle is advertising for you 24/7, whether it's in your driveway or another driveway in another subdivision. All right, that is some of the small things that you can do to get your business off the ground and start making waves in your community as it pertains to getting your name out there and generating leads. It is so hard as a contractor to compete with other contractors who've been doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you're the new person on the block, new guy, new girl on the block. How do you start to gain traction? You've got to do a little bit of everything. Don't be scared of any of these. Advertising platforms. Social media, whether you like it or don't like it, it's the new way of getting business done, and so I recommend it. Hey, thanks. I got a couple of more people watching. Please like and share this. Make a comment with your business name. I will, if you put your if you put your name on here, your business name, I'll put it on the podcast. Our podcasts are released every Tuesday, weekly, and I'm trying to share the love. If you don't know who we are, we're the Home Building and Remodeling Show. We are a podcast. We release every Tuesday. We've got about 250,000 followers on our other platforms. Not so much on YouTube yet, but we're getting there. And so the biggest part of what we want to share is how to successfully run your business. So we're sharing that today. Is the volume good? For those of you who are watching, if the volume's good, give me a thumbs up, say hi. But if you have a contracting business, I'd love to know what it is so I can look into it and maybe help you out. Maybe you can help me out. Listen, we've been doing this for a decade, but there's people who've been doing it a lot longer and can share so many more experiences. So that's why I love these types of platforms. Okay, so let's get back to it. How to start a contracting business. Okay, this is the 101 version because we're limited on how much time I've got this Sunday. But we're going to do this every Sunday, usually 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and that's Central Time. And please join us. We talked about telling your friends and family. There are people who are scared, embarrassed, nervous, so they don't tell their immediate loved ones, their circle for some reason, but it's important to let them know. Then we talked about knowing the rules and regulations, especially as a contractor. You've got to have certain licensing to do certain jobs, and there are certain jobs you can do as a contractor without licensing. And when I say licensing, I'm talking about state regulated licensing for like plumber, HVAC, electrical. You know, for me, home building, you have to have a state license to do those things. You've got to pass a test. You've got to have hours. But there are jobs. You can do flooring. You can do tile. You can do paint. You know, I know I'm missing a handful, but those things, you could be a handyman. There are certain things that you could do without a state required license. So if there's anything you could think of that you could do, or where you're from, I'm just saying stuff where I'm from here on the Alabama Gulf Coast, but I know those are things you can do. Trim carpentry, okay? A good trim carpentry, custom carpentry, you just have to have skill. Now, before you get into all this, and we're talking about generating leads, the last thing you want to do is be really good at generating business and not know what the hell you're doing. So let's make sure you know what you're doing before you do any of this other stuff, because that'll get you every time. You don't want your first job to be your last job. So understanding what it is that you're doing. But hopefully we're just talking that you know what you're doing and you want to start your contracting business. So anyway, you're going to be able to tell your friends and family, know the rules, and then generate leads. We talked about Facebook being a primary source of leads for you, and social media is definitely a primary source of leads. So that we're going to end it there on 1, 2, and 3. We talked about number 3, generating those leads. That's going on social media, getting you a t-shirt, getting you a hat, getting you a decal for your vehicle, and making sure you post that, social media, Facebook, okay? If any of you have anything you would like to hear on the Home Building and Remodeling Show podcast, please reach out to me directly, comment on here. I appreciate y'all so much for spending this time with me on Sunday. Next week, we'll pick up where we left off, and we're going to dive even deeper into helping you on how to start your contracting business. Thanks.